Hi everybody and welcome to these special editions of Inspired by Moor Voices. It might be hard for you to imagine the people that were living on Exmoor and Dartmoor up to 4,000 years ago. What did they wear? What did they eat? How did they live alongside one another? There is little evidence that can confirm for us what life was like in the Bronze Age. However, the hills of Dartmoor and Exmoor are covered in Bronze Age monuments that give us just a glimpse into the life of these prehistoric people. This video is taking a look at those very monuments. So let's begin with some key terminology. The Bronze Age was a period of time between 4,000 and 2,800 years ago. It took place between the Neolithic Stone Age and the Iron Age. Hut circles, also known as roundhouses, are made of large stones, and they appear to be the fallen remains of circular walls that once formed a hut. We believe that these were the homes in which Bronze Age people lived. Sometimes the large upright stone which formed the doorway can still be seen, and some roundhouses had porches to protect the entrance from wind and rain. The roof timbers would have been supported on a ring of posts inside the wall, giving the roof a conical shape. The overall covering might have been of turf, heather, gorse or thatch, whatever was most readily available. Upright stones in single, double or, in some cases, triple rows are fairly common on Dartmoor, but nobody really knows what they were used for. They might have been linked to burials, religious ceremonies, or to aid travellers across the moor. Perhaps by the end of this video you will have your own idea of why or how stone rows were used. Reaves are low, stony banks that were used to form what we today call fields. The reaves would likely have been used to enclose animals for grazing or crops for growing. Quincunxes. This is a fun one to say. Have a go yourself. Quincunx. These are a type of stone setting within the formation of a 5 on a dice. Again, we have no real knowledge of what this strange stone arrangement was for or what they represented. In this image only 3 stones remain, but hollows mark the 2 lost stones, so you can see that it is a quincunx. Like the quincunxes, the Exmoor Sixes are a stone setting, but this time in the formation of a 6 on a dice, or in 2 rows of 3 stones side by side. Also, like the quincunxes, we don't know what this stone layout means or what they were used for. Cists were stone chests, similar to a coffin, that were buried in the earth with the remains of a body inside. We think that these cists might have been the burial sites of prominent or high status members of the community. Cairns and Barrows. Cairns are mounds of stone and earth built over burial sites in the ground. Some burials are also marked by a ring of stones, and these are known as ring cairns. Barrows are very similar to cairns but are built up mostly out of soil and not stone. According to Dartmoor archaeologist Tom Reaves, moorland Dartmoor contains the sites of many unnamed pools which have close and sometimes intimate relationships with well-known prehistoric features, including cairns and stone rows. The sacred pools, of which there are over 40 so far mapped on Dartmoor, are often located on ridgetops or watersheds, and also often have stunning settings with spectacular views to nearby or distant tors. We need to consider that these pools may have been part of a designed prehistoric landscape, with both a practical and religious function.
Pools would have been useful as watering places for livestock in prehistoric times as they are now, though many dry up in the summer, and some may have been used as gathering places, especially at the key seasonal movements of cattle to and from the moor. Water also reflects the sky, especially at night, and may well have been considered to have divinatory or other powers, even as possible entry points to other worlds, especially if close to burial cairns.
So now you have some idea of what the various monuments that can be found on Exmoor and Dartmoor are. Let's have a look at each national park a little bit more closely. Rob Wilson North, the head of Conservation and Access for Exmoor National Park, says, Exmoor's stone settings are apparently unique. They are highly unusual because of their large number, with about 60 surviving in such a small area. They are unlike the great monuments of massive standing stones in that they are more an expression of small communities. In a sense, they are much more intimate in the way that a parish church speaks of a village, whilst a cathedral speaks of other things. Some of the stone settings appear to be random patterns, while others are specific arrangements. The Quincunxes is a 5 on a dice, the Exmoor Sixes are a 6 on a dice. These arrangements being, in the case of the Quincunxes, the earliest manifestation of it in Northern Europe and probably beyond. The first real expression of the Quincunxes is in medieval Europe, around 2,000 years after the Exmoor examples. What did they represent? Well, that's where archaeology is better than fiction. We can speculate based on real evidence. The following comes from the Dartmoor National Park fact sheet on prehistoric archaeology, which you can find via a link in the video information. Dartmoor National Park covers an area of 368 square miles and contains the largest concentration of Bronze Age remains in the country. The reason for the survival of so many archaeological remains within the national park is due to the fact that many of the structures were built of granite, a very durable stone, and also because human activity on the moor in later centuries was not intense. Dartmoor's high soil acidity means that virtually no pottery, bone or metal from the prehistoric past survives here. There are about 75 stone rows and 18 stone circles to be found on Dartmoor, and about 1,310 round cairns and over 210 ring cairns. There are also remains of over 5,000 Bronze Age houses or hut circles, but only the granite walls survive. They can be anything from 1.8 metres to 9 metres in diameter. Do you remember what a kist was? It is the stone chest, very much like a coffin, which is buried somewhere in the ground. We're going to talk about a very special kist now, which was discovered on Dartmoor. In the 1990s, the Whitehorse Hill kist was discovered eroding from a mound of peat. At 600 metres elevation, it was exposed to the elements, and although it was attempted to preserve the kist as it was eventually decided in 2011 that it would be best to carry out an excavation on the site. Archaeologists believed that a kist this age and so exposed to the elements would hold very little for examination. But when the excavation began, they realised they had been very wrong. The peat that surrounded the kist was incredible at preserving materials that in any other environment would have rotted a long time ago. This is due to the high water content and difficulty for oxygen to access the space. And so instead of the empty site that the excavation was expecting to find, the Whitehorse Hill kist uncovered an internationally significant insight into Bronze Age life. Dated between 1730 BC and 1600 BC, the grave contained the following: the remains of a young adult, thought to be female, the pelt of a brown bear, beads made from clay, shale, amber and tin, wooden studs, possibly worn as lip or ear decorations, a flint tool,
a bracelet made of cow's hair woven around tin studs, and a woven basket.
Some of these items allowed modern-day archaeologists a new look into Bronze Age civilization. We can see from the materials found how local and organic resources were used by the people living then,
and even that trading was taking place across countries. The amber that the beads were made from was sourced from the Baltic region, which leads us to question, how did it get here?
Med Theatre were commissioned by the More Than Meets the Eye Landscape Partnership Scheme to create a play inspired by the findings on Whitehorse Hill. The play explored the history of central Dartmoor in 7 episodes, beginning in the Bronze Age with a young woman named Marwyn.
Marwyn is the name that Dartmoor National Park decided to give to the body in the kist.
Dartmoor's archaeologists believe that Marwyn must have been a very important person to have been buried with so many special objects. You might have come to realise through watching this video that although Exmoor and Dartmoor are both incredibly special places with regards to what we know about prehistoric life, there is still very little that we do know. With very few written records of the time and none whatsoever from Britain in the Bronze Age, most of the findings come from archaeological records or the analysis of objects such as those found in Whitehorse Hill Kist or stone settings like the Quincunxes. So to conclude this video, our second episode of Inspired by Moor Voices, I would like to invite you to go out and take a walk on Exmoor or Dartmoor and keep your eyes open for some of these Bronze Age monuments